The mind is a sanctuary, a battlefield, and a canvas. It holds the power to shape our reality, carve paths through uncertainty, and create beauty from chaos. But like any tool, it requires care, discipline, and attention. In a world brimming with distractions, it's easy to neglect the most precious resource we possess, our mind. The act of training it is not just a luxury, it is a necessity. When we take the time to cultivate our thoughts, master our focus, and harness our imagination, we unlock a strength greater than any external force. This speech will explore the transformative journey of training the mind, crafted with a tone that seeks to inspire, challenge, and resonate. You ever sit alone in a quiet room and feel the roar of your thoughts? Like waves crashing, one after another, unrelenting, leaving you adrift in a sea of questions, worries, and memories. That's the mind, untrained and untamed. It doesn't wait for permission. It doesn't knock politely on the door of your peace. It barges in, demands attention, and sometimes it even steals your joy. But here's the secret. Your mind is not your master. It is your servant, your partner, your ally. If you take the time to teach it, it will learn. If you take the time to guide it, it will follow. And yet so many of us let it run wild. We let it tell us what we can't do, where we can't go, who we can't be. We listen when it whispers fear into our hearts or shouts failure into our dreams. But why? Why do we let the voice inside dictate our path when we have the power to rewrite the narrative? It's because training the mind takes effort. It takes stillness when the world demands speed. It takes courage when doubt tries to take the wheel. It takes belief, unwavering, unshakable belief that your mind can grow stronger, sharper, kinder. But let me tell you this. Every great revolution starts within. The world won't change because you shouted louder or worked harder. It will change because you thought deeper, envisioned brighter, and loved more fiercely. And none of that happens without training your mind. Picture a garden. Left untended, it becomes overrun with weeds. The flowers struggle for sunlight. The soil hardens, and the beauty fades. But when a gardener steps in, when care and intention meet the earth, that garden transforms. It flourishes. The same is true for your mind. Neglect it, and it will wander into dark corners. But nurture it, and it will bloom with ideas, wisdom, and clarity. Training your mind doesn't mean silencing it. No, that's not the goal. The goal is to teach it how to speak truth, how to ask the right questions, how to hold space for both curiosity and conviction. It's about giving it the tools to rise above the noise of the world and anchor itself in purpose. Yes, getting rich is hard, and you do have to personally anchor yourself in purpose. There's a quiet strength in a trained mind. It doesn't flinch at criticism. It doesn't crumble under pressure. It doesn't waver when faced with the unknown. A trained mind doesn't need to prove itself because it knows its worth. It moves through life not as a leaf blown by the wind, but as a river carving its own path. Think about the greatest achievements of humankind. Every invention, every masterpiece, every act of courage. Where did they begin? In the mind of someone who dared to dream, someone who refused to let their thoughts limit them, someone who took the time to train their mind to see possibilities where others saw barriers. But let me warn you, this journey isn't easy. There will be days when your mind fights back, days when it pulls you into old habits, when it resists the work, when it clings to the comfort of what it knows. And on those days, you must be patient. You must remind yourself that growth is a process, not a destination. Start small. Take a moment each day to sit with your thoughts, not to judge them, but to understand them. Listen to the stories your mind tells you. Are they stories of hope or fear? Are they stories of love or loss? And then ask yourself, are these the stories I want to live by? If not, rewrite them. Feed your mind with knowledge. Read books that challenge you. Engage in conversations that expand your perspective. Seek out experiences that push you beyond your comfort zone. The more you expose your mind to new ideas, the more it will grow. The more you expose your mind to new ideas, the more it will grow. And above all, protect your mind. In a world that profits from your distractions, protecting your focus is an act of rebellion. Turn off the noise. Limit the negativity. Surround yourself with people and environments that uplift you. Your mind is sacred. Treat it as such. There is no finish line in this journey. The mind is ever evolving, ever learning. But that's the beauty of it. With every step, you become more in tune with who you are and what you're capable of. And as your mind grows, so does your capacity to impact the world around you. The time to start is now. Not tomorrow, not when life gets less busy, not when the stars align, now, because every moment you spend training your mind is an investment in your future. It's a gift to yourself and to the world. There's a certain rhythm to life, a cadence that many of us are too busy to hear. It's buried under the hum of daily obligations, the endless ping of notifications, and the constant chase for something just out of reach. But if you pause, if you close your eyes and let the noise fade, you'll find it. That rhythm, it's your thoughts, your dreams, your potential calling to you. It's a reminder that your mind is alive, waiting to be shaped, yearning to be sharpened. And the truth is, the work you put into training your mind doesn't just change you, it changes the way you see the world. The untrained mind loves comfort. It clings to the familiar, to what it knows, to what it has already seen and heard and done. But comfort is not where growth lives. Growth lives in the moments that stretch you, that challenge you, that make you question who you are and what you believe. It lives in the spaces where you are forced to think deeper, reach higher, and dig into reserves of strength you didn't know you had. Training your mind is about finding comfort in discomfort. It's about welcoming the unknown with open arms, knowing that every challenge is an opportunity to become better, wiser, stronger. And yet it's tempting to avoid this work. After all, the mind doesn't come with an instruction manual. It doesn't arrive at birth with a clear set of steps to follow. We stumble through life, figuring it out as we go, hoping we're getting it right. But what if we approach the mind with the same intention we give to mastering any skill? What if we treated it like an instrument, practicing every day until its melodies became second nature? Imagine the symphony you could create. To train the mind is to master focus. In a world that pulls you in 1,000 directions at once, focus is a superpower. It's the ability to say, this is where my energy goes, this is what matters. This is what I will give my time to. But focus isn't something that just happens, it's a muscle. And like any muscle, it strengthens with use. Each time you resist the urge to scroll aimlessly, each time you choose depth over distraction, you're training that muscle. You're telling your mind that it doesn't need to chase every shiny thing it sees. You're teaching it to stay the course. But training the mind isn't just about discipline. It's also about imagination. It's about giving yourself permission to dream wildly, to think creatively, to envision possibilities that don't yet exist. An untrained mind sees only what is. A trained mind sees what could be. It connects the dots in ways others can't. It finds solutions where others can't. It dares to color outside the lines. It dares to color outside the line. And that kind of thinking, it's not just valuable, it's revolutionary. Consider the way we treat our physical bodies. We understand that to stay healthy, we must move, nourish, and care for them. We set goals, run a marathon, lift a certain weight, reach a specific level of fitness. And yet we often forget that our minds need the same attention. We feed them junk, negative thoughts, endless comparisons, pointless arguments, and wonder why we feel stuck, unmotivated, uninspired. Training your mind means being intentional about what you feed it. It means choosing thoughts that empower you, surrounding yourself with people who challenge you, and consuming information that expands you. There's a phrase I've always loved: as a man thinketh, so is he. Your thoughts shape your reality. They influence how you see yourself, how you interact with others, how you navigate the world. When your thoughts are small, your life becomes small. But when your thoughts are expansive, when they're rooted in possibility and purpose, your life follows suit. The mind is a mirror reflecting back what you give it. If you give it fear, it will show you reasons to be afraid. If you give it hope, it will show you reasons to believe. But let's not romanticize this work. Training your mind isn't always poetic. It's messy, it's uncomfortable, it's staring your doubts in the face and refusing to let them win. It's sitting with your fears, your insecurities, your past mistakes and saying, "You do not define me." It's doing the hard, unglamorous work of unlearning what no longer serves you and replacing it with something better. It's understanding that growth is rarely linear. There will be setbacks. There will be days when you want to quit. But every step forward, no matter how small, is progress. And here's the thing, you don't have to do it alone. The journey of training your mind is deeply personal, but it's also universal. Every person you meet is wrestling with their own thoughts, their own struggles, their own dreams. When you share your journey, when you open up about the challenges and triumphs of training your mind, you create connection. You remind others that they're not alone, that they too can rise above their circumstances, that they too have the power to change their narrative. Think about the people who inspire you, the ones who seem unshakable, who carry themselves with confidence and grace, who make you believe in something greater. What sets them apart isn't luck or talent, it's the way they've trained their minds. They've learned to quiet the noise, to trust their intuition, to stay grounded in their values. They've done the inner work, and it shows. That kind of strength, it's not out of reach. It's within you, waiting to be cultivated. Training your mind is also an act of self-love. It's a declaration that you are worth the effort, worth the time, worth the investment. It's recognizing that you cannot pour from an empty cup, that the more you nurture your inner world, the more you have to give to the outer world. When your mind is strong, when it's clear, when it's focused, you show up differently. You love more fully. You lead more effectively. The word becomes clear. The word becomes better. You lead more effectively. You live more authentically. And don't underestimate the ripple effect of a trained mind. When you elevate your thinking, you elevate the people around you. You inspire them to dream bigger, to think deeper, to challenge their own limits. Your growth becomes a catalyst for their growth. And that's how change happens, not through grand gestures, but through the quiet, consistent work of individuals committed to bettering themselves. And you'll put you on the track where one more individual committed to bettering themselves, cannot inconsistently comprehend what you are asking of them. There is no doubt. So what will you do with this power? How will you use the incredible gift of your mind? Will you let it drift, untamed and unfocused? Or will you take the reins and guide it toward greatness? Will you settle for a life of mediocrity? Or will you dare to see just how far your mind can take you? The choice is yours. The journey is yours. And the time to begin, it's now. The mind is a paradox, isn't it? It's both the most powerful tool you'll ever possess and the greatest obstacle you'll ever face. It holds your deepest wisdom and your fiercest fears, your wildest dreams and your harshest doubts. To train it is to wrestle with this paradox daily. It's to understand that power without direction is chaos, and that potential without discipline is nothing more than a promise unfulfilled. It's been said you need both the power and the discipline. An issue is nothing more than a promise unfulfilled. Yet so many of us walk through life unaware of this incredible gift, letting our minds drift wherever the winds of circumstance take them, never realizing that we hold the reins. When you train your mind, you become the architect of your own life. You're no longer a passive participant, reacting to whatever comes your way. Instead, you design, you create, you build. You see opportunities where others see obstacles. You find clarity in the midst of confusion. You choose your path instead of letting the world choose it for you. But this kind of mastery doesn't come overnight. It comes through intentional, deliberate practice. It comes through the small daily choices that over time create a foundation strong enough to weather any storm. And then there's the business of life, whether you work out of guilt or gloom. So the work begins in the moments you least expect. It's in how you respond when someone criticizes you. Do you let their words define your worth, or do you see them for what they are, just words? It's in how you react when life doesn't go according to plan. Do you spiral into frustration, or do you adapt and move forward? Training your mind means recognizing these moments for what they are. Opportunities to grow stronger, to become more resilient, to prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you once believed. And let's talk about belief for a moment, because belief is the cornerstone of a trained mind. What you believe about yourself, about others, about the world, it shapes everything. If you believe you're not smart enough, not strong enough, not good enough, your mind will find evidence to support that belief. It will hold you back, keep you small, make you doubt every step you take. But when you choose to believe in your own potential, when you decide that you are worthy of growth and capable of greatness, your mind will rise to meet that belief. It will find ways to turn your dreams into reality. It will show you paths you never knew existed. Belief isn't just a feeling, it's a practice. It's something you cultivate every day, even on the days when it feels impossible, especially on those days. Because the truth is, the hardest moments are the ones that define you. They're the moments when your mind is tested, when you're forced to dig deep and find strength you didn't know you had. And when you come out the other side, you realize that the struggle wasn't a setback, it was a stepping stone. Training your mind is about creating habits that serve you. It's about being intentional with your time, your energy, your focus. It's about choosing thoughts that uplift you instead of thoughts that tear you down. This isn't about pretending everything is perfect or ignoring the challenges in front of you. It's about choosing to see those challenges as opportunities for growth. It's about reframing your perspective so that even the most difficult situations become lessons instead of limitations. Lesson stands for legacy, building on your individual contributions and contributions in your life. It means building a future that advances the lives of those around you and the world, and so you can bring more impact and vigor into the life of others. Take failure, for example. An untrained mind sees failure as the end of the road, a sign that you weren't good enough, that you should give up. But a trained mind sees failure as a beginning. It understands that every misstep, every mistake, every setback is a chance to learn, to improve, to try again with more wisdom and experience. A trained mind doesn't fear failure, it welcomes it, because it knows that failure is not the opposite of success, it's a part of the journey toward it. So come back. The journey of training your mind is deeply personal, but is also profoundly universal. Every human being is navigating their own mental landscape, wrestling with their own doubts and fears, striving toward their own version of success. And when you commit to training your mind, you become part of a larger story, a story of resilience, of growth, of the unyielding power of the human spirit. You contribute to a world where people are not defined by their circumstances, but by their capacity to rise above them. Moving forward peacefully and easily, realizing that human evil can be completely slain by human and Christ alone. There's a humility in this work too, because as much as you train your mind, as much as you learn and grow, there will always be more to discover. The mind is infinite in its potential, and that's what makes this journey so beautiful. It's not about reaching a destination, it's about embracing the process. It's about being curious, being open, being willing to challenge your own assumptions and expand your understanding of the world. And let's not forget the role of gratitude in all of this, because while training your mind is about striving for growth, it's also about appreciating where you are right now. It's about recognizing the progress you've already made, the lessons you've already learned, the strength you've already built. Gratitude grounds you. It reminds you that even as you strive for more, you are already enough. Training your mind is not a solitary pursuit. It's something that's deeply influenced by the people you surround yourself with. Your environment matters. The conversations you have, the media you consume, the energy you allow into your life, it all shapes your mental landscape. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, who challenge you, who push you to be better. Seek out mentors, friends, and communities that uplift you. Because when you're surrounded by people who believe in you, it becomes easier to believe in yourself. So the moment I started my goal of being a Black civil rights leader, but remember, this journey is yours alone. No one else can do the work for you. No one else can train your mind. Others can guide you, support you, encourage you, but the responsibility lies with you. And that's a powerful thing, because it means you have the ability to shape your own destiny. You have the power to create a life that's aligned with your values, your passions, your purpose. You know, there will be moments of doubt, moments when the work feels overwhelming, moments when you wonder if it's even worth it. But in those moments, remember why you started. Remember that every step you take, no matter how small, is bringing you closer to the person you want to be. Remember that the mind is a muscle, and like any muscle, it grows stronger with use. And remember that every moment you spend training your mind is a moment spent investing in your future. God, like a gorilla, put your face to the table every day and do the work of training your mind is a moment spent investing in your future. The journey of training your mind is not about perfection. It's not about having all the answers or never making mistakes. It's about progress. It's about resilience. It's about the willingness to keep going even when the path is uncertain. It's about trusting that no matter what challenges you face, you have the strength and the wisdom to overcome them. And so the question remains, what will you do with this moment? How will you take the incredible gift of your mind and shape it into something extraordinary? Will you let it drift, untamed and untrained, or will you take the time, the effort, the care to guide it, to nurture it, to teach it what it's capable of? The choice is yours. The time is now, and the journey is waiting. Every breath you take is an invitation to begin anew. Every moment that passes is an opportunity to shift, to recalibrate, to decide that your mind is worth the work it takes to train it. It doesn't matter how far you think you've strayed or how much you feel you've let it wander. The beautiful truth about the mind is its boundless capacity for transformation. It's never too late to begin. The smallest step, the faintest flicker of effort can set into motion a profound and lasting change. Imagine what happens when you begin to understand the true power of your thoughts, when you see that they are not merely fleeting whispers in your head, but the foundation of your actions, your relationships, your destiny. Thoughts are energy, and what you choose to think about grows. Give your energy to think about grows. Give it to courage, and doubt will thrive. Give it to courage, and watch your bravery bloom. This is the quiet magic of training the mind, the realization that what you focus on, you create. The world is constantly pulling at you, demanding your attention, trying to convince you that you need more, that you need to be more. But a trained mind doesn't fall for the illusion. A trained mind knows that peace is not found in the chaos of external validation, but in the stillness of inner clarity. And that stillness, that clarity, is not something you stumble upon by chance. It's something you build with intention, piece by piece, moment by moment. There will always be distractions, always be noise, always be the temptation to stay comfortable. But comfort is not where greatness lives. Growth comes from leaning into the discomfort, from facing what scares you, from choosing to do the hard thing because you know it's worth it. Training your mind isn't about avoiding challenges. It's about learning how to meet them with strength and grace. It's about trusting yourself enough to walk through the fire, knowing that you'll emerge on the other side stronger than before. And through it all, remember that this journey is yours. No one else can walk it for you, and no one else can take it from you. It's a sacred path, one that leads not to some external prize, but to the deepest, truest version of yourself. The mind is a vast, untamed wilderness, filled with trails unexplored and horizons unseen. Every thought, every idea, every memory is like a thread in a tapestry that stretches farther than the eye can see. But what becomes of a tapestry left unfinished? What happens to a wilderness left untended? What happens to a wilderness left untended? Without care, without purpose, the beauty of the mind remains hidden, its potential locked away beneath layers of fear, doubt, and inertia. To train your mind is to take up the mantle of a gardener, a weaver, an explorer. It is to choose with unwavering resolve to cultivate the richness of what lies within you. And yet there's a resistance, isn't there? A voice that whispers, "Why bother? Stay where you are. This is good enough." That voice is the echo of countless years of conditioning, the residue of a world that often prioritizes ease over excellence, complacency over courage. But the trained mind knows that resistance is a signpost, not a roadblock. It points to the very edges of your comfort zone, the boundaries that must be pushed if you are to discover what lies beyond. The work of training the mind doesn't require grand gestures or sweeping changes. It begins in the smallest of actions, the quietest of moments. It's in the decision to pause before reacting, to listen instead of speaking, to reflect instead of rushing forward. It's in the choice to ask questions about yourself, about others, about the world, and to sit with the discomfort of not always having the answers. This is where the mind begins to sharpen, to expand, to grow. And growth is not a linear process. There will be days when your mind feels clear, focused, unstoppable, and others when it feels like a storm cloud, heavy and chaotic. Both are part of the journey. A trained mind doesn't seek perfection. It seeks progress. It understands that setbacks are not failures, but opportunities to recalibrate, to learn, to start again. Each misstep is a lesson in disguise. Each stumble a chance to rise stronger than before. Training your mind is also about understanding the power of perspective. The way you see the world shapes the way you experience it. Two people can face the same situation, and one will see only obstacles while the other sees opportunities. The difference lies in the mind. When you train yourself to shift your perspective, to look for the silver linings, to find the lesson in every challenge, you transform not just your thoughts, but your entire reality. You begin to see that life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you.